Just like Toronto Maple Leaf fans, I have no respect for fans of the Buffalo Bills. You have no idea how irrelevant and obnoxious and foolish you are. You go around saying you're Canada's team. You go around saying you're the Bills Mafia. Listen, the only reason why you won before to get into the Super Bowl was one guy who was groomed in the Canadian Football League who won 2 titles in Montreal. He's a Hall of Famer. If Marv Levy was your coach now, you could probably do it, but your team has no focus. Your team basically, I was cheating. Well, if you score 45 points or 50 points like the old Bills under Jim Kelly would, you wouldn't be crying as much as you are. So the modern-day Bills fans can go fuck themselves, but the Bills fans from the 60s to the Levy era, you have my big respect. So today we're talking about how Marv Levy became head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Now, Marv, who basically we saw him in recent days exhorting on the Buffalo Bills, which is good. He's 99, he can do what he wants. He's a former American football coach and executive, again, who was head coach in the NFL for 17 seasons. He spent most of his head coaching career with the Bills, leading them from 86 to 97. Now, the 4 Super Bowls he lost back-to-back, a lot of bad luck there. It wasn't his fault. Wide right wasn't his fault. Mark Ripien being hot was his fault, and the 2 Dallas teams, Jehovah himself or Moses couldn't get a team to beat Dallas in those 2 years. Now, after spending 10 years as head coach in college, he was hired to coach the Montreal Alouettes in the CFL in 73. Now, he won in 74, he won in 77, should have won in 75, but they missed the field goal, so he won 3 titles. And we all considered when he became coach of the Bills, was he satiated by those 2 titles in Montreal? Like I said, did he have the killer instinct? Is yet to be known, but when Jim Kelly showed up, he ran one of the best hurry-up offenses in pro football history. Now, after 5 seasons coaching the Chiefs, he helped the Bills become one of the most dominant AFC teams during the 1990s. His greatest success occurred between 1990 and 93 when he led Buffalo to 4 consecutive Super Bowls, although each contest ended in defeat. He concluded his head coaching career with 11 playoff victories and 4 Super Bowl appearances, both of which are the most of head coaches to not win an NFL title. After retiring in 97, he served as GM for the Bills from 06 to 07, inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2001, and of course our Canadian Football Hall of Fame in 2021. Sorry, I got the years mixed up. So now the idea about Marv Levy, a strong Jewish family he grew up with in Chicago. In 43, the day after graduation from South Shore High School in Chicago, he enlisted in the United States Army Air Forces. He served as a talented meteorologist at Appalachia Army Airfield in Franklin County, Florida, but the war ended before his unit was deployed to Pacific. Though he was known to use historical examples to inspire his teams, Levy corrected those who used war and combat metaphors to describe football games by telling them that he actually fought in a war, despite not being deployed, and that football and a war were in no way comparable. Referring to the Super Bowl, he said, "This is not a must-win. World War II was a must-win." Steve Tasker, who played for Levy on the Bills, said he always had a knack for always finding the right thing to say, and it's true. So we're going to go over his coaching career. St. Louis County Day School, 51-52 head coach. Cole, 53-54 assistant coach. New Mexico, 54-58 AC. New Mexico, head coach, 58-59. California, 1960-63 head coach. William Mary, 64-68 head coach. The Eagles, he was kickers coach in 69. Special teams coach with the Rams in 70. Special teams coach with 71 and 72 with the Redskins. Alouettes head coach, then the years with the Chiefs, the Blitz as head coach, then with Buffalo. And of course, 2-time Grey Cup champion, 4-time AFC title winner, SoCon champion 66, Sporting News Coach of the Year in 88, NFL 90s All-Decade Team, Buffalo Bills Wall of Fame, and 50th anniversary team with Buffalo. Now, CFL, postseason 7-3 with Montreal, 43-31-4 overall, and career 50-34-4. Now, let's talk of the Alouettes. Now, Levy served as head coach of the Owls for 5 seasons. He coached Montreal to 3 CFL Cup appearances and 2 titles, and won the added Stuttgart Trophy Coach of the Year in 74. Now, talking about the 1974 victory, This was probably one of the wettest Grey Cups of all time. Played on November 24th, 74 in front of 34,450 fans at Empire State in Vancouver. The Alouettes bet the Eskimos 27 on a slick, wet field. Many balls were fumbled and passes dropped on a rainy Vancouver day. Now, Montreal had trailed 7-0 early, but from then on, Levy's great coaching of the 9-5-2 Als made it good. MVP, of course, was the great Sonny Wade with Junior Ayew, our great defensive end, as the most valuable player. And, of course, the most valuable Canadian was Don Sweet, the kicker. Now, the second quarter, again, the big one, Levy was using a diverse offense. Larry Shearer had a 5-yard run in the second quarter, which was the big factor. Now, both starting quarterbacks actually ended up leaving the game. Tom Wickelson was injured when sacked by Junior Ayew and was replaced by Bruce Lemmerman. Sonny Wade came off the Alouettes bench to replace starting quarterback Jimmy Jones, who fumbled the ball in that kick in the next year. In his Grey Cup career, Wade frequently came on relief. He also did so in 75 and 78, but also won in 70, 74, and 77. Now, he won his second Grey Cup MVP award offense while completing only 10 of 25 passes. Now, this was the first year 2 separate MVP awards were given out, one in offense and one in defense. Now, previously, Edmonton and Montreal had met in 11 Grey Cup clashes. Now, Marv Levy said after the game, he said the field wasn't a factor. The factor was our defense took out their main offense, which was the quarterback. Now, the Eskimos had previously prevailed against the Alouettes in 54, 55, 56. This was the first time Montreal bet Edmonton in the Grey Cup. 75, 78, 79, of course, they were victorious. 2003 and 2005. Of course, Montreal won the Ice Bowl under Levy in 77. Now, this was the last Grey Cup game played at Empire Stadium. The next time Vancouver hosted a Grey Cup game was 9 years later in 83. It would be indoors at a new BC Place Stadium. Now, I basically believe if Levy would have stayed with Montreal past 1977, I think there would have been a couple of Grey Cups there, and I don't think the team would have left. As much as he meant the Buffalo fans, he meant that much more to the Montreal fans. So I look at the Buffalo Bills, and the best thing I can say is that Marv Levy was the motivator. The Buffalo Bills were the closest to a CFL team that the NFL has ever had, because you look at it, you only needed 2 downs to score. But, I mean, missing helmets and bad passes and Kelly getting injured, there was no way that the NFC East was going to lose to the Buffalo Bills. It's no coincidence that 4 straight NFC East title holders, or winners of the division, bet Buffalo in there. You would have played anybody else except for the 49ers. But if you would have played, let's say, against a strong, defense like a Chicago or whatever, maybe you would have won. But the problem is Marv Levy, again, he took a bunch of ragtag players in Buffalo, made them into the team, and he said, okay, here's the wheel, you can drive it over the end zone. But like I said, the too many fumbles, all the mistakes in the first Dallas game, the 2 mistakes in the second quarter, the second half against Dallas again, these losses weren't Marv Levy's fault. Now, the current Bills do not know how to win because you don't have Marv Levy as a coach. Marv Levy would go to them and say, listen, I won in Montreal. Montreal, they always had a hard time with the West. They could have won 3 out of 4 super Grey Cups. And they had Johnny Rodgers. They had a whole diverse offense. Marv Levy was bringing a CFL winning aesthetic to the Bills. Kansas City couldn't do it. That's what he moved to Buffalo. And I thought he ended up with like the Chicago Bears, but it never happened. So in my personal opinion, ladies and gentlemen, the Buffalo Bills, if Marv Levy was 30 years younger running the current Bills, he would have bet the Chiefs because he could outthink Andy Reid. The problem is with Andy Reid, he coaches like Marv Levy. He's gained experience over the years. Marv Levy is a genius for football. He took the Montreal franchise, which was pretty well down to nothing in the 1960s up until 1970. He showed up, and Montreal was a marquee team. Montreal was as big as an NFL team in Canada for years. At one point, they were more popular in Canada than the Steelers and the Cowboys combined. It was that big because the Alouettes are the marquee team. Montreal Canadiens, Montreal Alouettes. Montreal Expos, go figure. So If the Bills lost, it's their own fault because they're poorly coached. Because you're playing into the system, but Marv Levy would change it around. How in the fuck do you think they came back against Houston, leading 35-3? He saw Warren Moon as a CFL quarterback running a CFL offense for the Oilers, and he knew how to beat it. Come on, it wasn't just Frank Reich there anyway. So Marv Levy, all the big respect. 100th birthday coming up, and if I ever meet him, I won't even mention about the Bills losing. I said thank you for bringing 2 titles to the Montreal Alouettes, and we love you in Canada. So, ladies and gentlemen, the words of Junior IU. We'll see you on the flip. If you like what you're doing here with our Montreal Alouettes Indirect podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.